You know, one problem with spending too much time online is you end up getting hit with a lot of doomer bullshit takes. The world's ending all the time. But if you're feeling a bit black-pilled, you might be missing the forest for the trees here, because the fact is that 2025 has arguably been the best year ever for cryptocurrencies. And they're saying, well, Lord, the prices are not dramatically going up all the time. If you're in any doubt about what's been going on in crypto, let me break down the reasons why this industry is hitting escape velocity, and you should not be fading what's happening right now because it's getting crazier and it's only going to get crazier. So let's begin with the most recent bullish upheaval, which is the SEC launching Project Crypto. And actually, we should remember how utterly incomprehensible this would have been just a couple of years ago. Heck, last year at this time, we were under the terrorism of Gary Gensler and the Biden regime, waging all-out war on crypto. Elizabeth Warren was ecstatic. In this moment, she was euphoric. She was going to kill crypto, man. Seeing the turnaround, he'd be called batshit crazy at the time. Elizabeth was building her anti-crypto army. Crypto grandma, anti-crypto grandma is coming to kill your coins, man. So to say that times have changed is an understatement. The SEC has a new chair, a crypto task force, and is already starting to organize crypto roundtables since Trump became president. There has been a titanic shift in attitude at the SEC. Last week, in fact, they announced Project Crypto. And make no mistake, this is huge. Commissioner Chair Paul Atkins calling it the SEC's North Star in aiding President Trump's in his historic effort to make America the crypto capital of the world. America, man, it's back, baby. We're also talking directly about taking markets on chain, which we're already seeing. We're seeing equities come on chain now. Real world assets are exploding. That means a complete overhaul of the rules around crypto, with key changes being almost all tokens will not be classed as securities. Massive. Self-custody is now protected by law. Huge. They eased licensing requirements to allow crypto super apps. They increased protections for developers so that they can't be criminalized for writing code, which is exactly what the Biden regime did to developers. Happened to the guy from Tornado Cash and others too. So we also have regulatory exemptions for ICOs coming and for airdrops, meaning that if you're American, you can finally start getting airdrops again. You guys have been excluded from some of the best airdrops for the past years. It's back, baby. It's exciting. Look, there's pretty much everything the crypto industry wants. We're going to get altcoin ETFs and all that stuff. It's massive. And this is coming from the very same agency that until recently was trying to literally destroy the cryptocurrency industry. So basically, don't fade it, okay? Plus, this comes straight after the SEC gave approval for crypto ETP in-kind redemptions, meaning that you can actually send Bitcoin to then make a BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. But before we get into the next bit of wildly bullish news that's happened, I want to give a big thank you to TANGEM, the sponsor of today's video. Look, if you want military-grade security for your crypto assets without all the tech headaches, TANGEM is the easiest way and the safest way to take full custody of your crypto. It's just a card, man. It's super simple. All you have to do, tap this bad boy on your phone just like that, and you're good to go. It supports thousands of assets, lets you swap, stake, view your NFTs, all from a single, simple to use card. No seed phrases, no vulnerabilities, no compromises. Right now, you can get 10% off, and these are already super affordable, by the way. Get 10% off today. Link right down below here. If you're not using cold storage solutions yet, you're missing out. Go check it out. Link down below, and thank you for supporting our sponsors. Okay, now back to the in-kind redemptions. Look, the announcement for the in-kind redemptions came last week and leads to spot BTC and ETH ETFs becoming consistent with regular non-crypto commodity ETFs. And it's basically meaning that investors can redeem shares for the underlying asset. In these cases, of course, BTC and ETH, but as we get other ETF products like Solana and XRP, then those will also be included. So instead of just getting cash, you can actually get the coins, which is a big damn deal if you ask me. This makes the products more efficient as authorized participants don't need to sell the underlying asset when the shares are redeemed. And also, it sends the message that there is no need to treat crypto any different from other asset classes. Again, when you understand the implications of all this stuff, it's absolutely massive. In other words, crypto is part of the regular, normal, regulated financial landscape, and that it's a totally cool and normal asset. The SEC has no problem with it. This is very important for social proofing for all the big money it wants to get in. And speaking of ETFs, the last couple of years have seen plenty more things happening. Positive ETF developments have been coming left, right, and center. So first of all, we've seen the mind-blowing performance of the 3 fastest ever ETFs to reach $10 billion in assets under management. And guess what? They're all crypto funds. IBIT, that's BlackRock Bitcoin, leading the way in just 34 days. Fidelity BTC or FBTC at 53 days. And this year, ETH A did it in just 251 days. And the last one is important because the BTC ETFs were off to a flying start from launch. In fact, this year has seen a massive surge in interest for ETH products specifically and for ETH in general, which has happened over the last few months. Now, something we're going to look at more in a moment here, so stick with me. But last month, all crypto ETFs together took in a massive $12.8 billion. Plus, we've got a Solana ETF in operation now, more coming and more filings with the SEC for various altcoin ETFs, including for XRP, Litecoin, Sui, Cardano, and even meme coins like Pengu and Bonk are probably going to get ETF products at some point, which is crazy, but that's what's happening. That's nuts, man. We'll talk about how bubbles work in a moment, but the writing's on the wall. The bubble's going to be massive, and it's still just a tiny little bubble, and it's going to get really big and then explode. But we ride the wave up, okay? Overall, though, ETFs create a normie-friendly way of gaining exposure to crypto, as do another part of the crypto landscape, which is something that's recently taken off in a big way, crypto treasury companies. So obviously it all started with MicroStrategy back in the day. They now hold 3% of the Bitcoin supply, but then other firms followed in. It wasn't always going to be just Michael Saylor out there in the darkness, lonely bidding all that Bitcoin. Oh no. No. Others came to Bitcoin, Metaplanet as a prime example in Japan. But this year's big success story has been companies stockpiling altcoins. Well, we got a lot of new Bitcoin treasury companies too. Don't make a mistake, but we have companies now stockpiling ETH and XRP and all this kind of stuff, and it couldn't come at a better time, especially for Ethereum. Top ETH treasury firms right now include SharpLink, Bitmine, and the Ether Machine. Together, they have a 1.5% of the supply of ETH. There are more too, and those guys are going to keep buying ETH, by the way. They're not done. But besides scooping up supply, they're also making the case publicly and with skin in the game for exactly why Ethereum is such an important blockchain, which in turn gives a knock-on boost to other altcoins farther out along the risk curve, okay? Also, although they aren't receiving the same levels of attention as Bitcoin and ETH treasury companies right now, ETH treasury companies very hot right now, and by the way, I own SharpLink and Bitmine, but there are similar companies out there doing the same thing with Solana, Hype, Sui, Dogecoin, Fetch, other coins. It just, the list goes on, man. Now, for sure, you might suggest that's starting to look a little bit frothy, and you'd probably be right, but that's how markets often work. Things bubble out of control for a while, but over time, and with plenty of volatility and washouts along the way, the projects with the strongest fundamentals remain standing, and prices continue to go up. I think we're at the very early stages of the insanity we're going to see here for treasury company stuff. It'll get way stupider before we finish, okay? And this all ties in with the ongoing financial shift towards tokenization and stablecoins, aka the bringing on board of literally trillions and trillions of dollars of assets into the crypto world. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, has spoken about tokenizing everything. Then more recently, we've seen Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev pushing tokenization, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent talking about a $2 trillion stablecoin market. It's currently around 200 billion or so, maybe a little more, but we're 10xing, baby, okay? And do you have any idea what's going to happen when we have all that money easily available in the market? Related to that, we've also got the Genius Act clearing the way for stablecoins to take off, including finance giants like Citigroup and Bank of America literally exploring launching their own effing stablecoins. The biggest banks in the world are going to launch their stablecoins, guys. Shopify enabling payments for stablecoins. PayPal enabling crypto payments using over 100 different tokens. And the direction of travel here is one way only. Up, okay? More and more adoption is coming. The tides of money are flowing into the market. So it really looks like we're in a new era for crypto. In fact, Jason Yanowitz at Blockworks summed this up neatly the other day when he posted that crypto has had 3 eras. The earliest, most fragile age from 2009 to 2016. Era 2 from 2017 to 2024. Crypto started gaining a lot more media attention, mainstream attention, but was still incredibly volatile and wasn't accepted by mainstream finance. It was essentially in constant conflict with regulators and governments and mainstream financial institutions. And now we are entering into a new era, starting here in 2025, the big era, the adoption era. Crypto has truly arrived, and it is integrating with and altering traditional finance. Again, stablecoins are coming to major banks. We see all these big things that are starting to play out, all the big stories that are starting to play out. And you start to realize just how big everything is actually getting right now and how impactful all of these stories are, how much money's going to come in. We have 30 trillion or so that's estimated to be tokenized. So real world assets coming in, stocks, equities, real estate, all this kind of stuff. Stablecoin market cap going to trillions. Treasury companies buying. Countries buying. We didn't even talk about the countries buying in this video, guys. It's crazy stuff. All signs point to higher. Thanks for watching.